Thankful to God for the opportunity that God has given to me. Thankful to Pastor Emmanuel Might for having allowed me. Thankful to Pastor Baiju who connected me in. I think it's my privilege to be with you all, especially with the pastor. He had been a blessing to India as he visited our church. And before I start, let me give you another open welcome. If you have a mind of visiting India, consider us. I'm using a special mic because of my physical infirmity or problems. Pastor remembered this is the third time I'm coming in, but for the first time I'm using this microphone setup. Otherwise I had been using your microphone setup. You know, initially to start with, my accent may be little different for some of you, but it takes a few minutes. In 4 to 5 minutes, you will get understanding, get me understood fully. When we came to Bangalore, started with a small church, we were altogether 22 members in number. In the due course of time, of the last 40 years, God multiplied us at least 1,000 times. And today, we are little away 22,000. From 22 to 22,000 was the growth. When we came to Bangalore, the total built-in area for us was too small. But today, we have few complexes which are not small at all. God has blessed us. God has enabled us to move around. As the ministry was growing, I was also traveling to countries and continents. By grace of God, me and my wife, we have covered all the continents of the earth. We have covered nearly above 50 nations. In some of the nations, I keep traveling every time. What happened? Proportional to the growth and proportional to the fruit, oppositions were also proportional. I have suffered almost all major sickness. One cancer surgery alone had 400 stitches on my body. I had almost all types of diseases, including corona, attacked me in my times and again. As a result of that strong surgery, my liver, my lungs also got damaged. Today my breathing capacity is very small, and henceforth I cannot operate on a common mic. This is the reason why I use a special mic. Apology to everybody. My memory was badly affected. My vocabulary has reduced to smaller quantity. Thereby, I may have struggled in communicating with you. Though there may not be major issues, there may be problem that I may wander for words here and there because of my memory problem and thereby the vocabulary. Today is a precious day called as the Good Friday. Why is it called as Good Friday? Because Jesus died for us on a day similar to this. I do not believe in the literal accuracy of Jesus dying on a Friday. Because in case if it is literally accurate that Jesus died on a Friday and he rose up again on the Sunday morning, there cannot be 3 days and 3 nights completed as explained by Jesus that he will be under the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. I know the calculations by which people try to prove that it is the Friday and resurrection on Sunday. More applicable to me is that he died on Thursday, whatever. Friday is the generally accepted one, and henceforth let us call also this day as the Good Friday. It is not the importance of the day, but it is the importance of the incident that took place. That Jesus died on the cross of Calvary. I just want to tell you why it was necessary for Jesus to die on the cross of Calvary. Human beings were created approximately 6,000 years back. I do not want to go into the creation. By grace of God, I am little educated. I think I can explain all about the creation. I can relate the Bible along with the science and go on with classes. I can go on some 20 hours and then complete, or rather bring people to a certain conclusion that the Bible does not oppose the theory of the science, and the science cannot oppose the Bible. They are complementary. It was my request and prayer to God. Thereby, the last position in the Indian government I got was as a scientist. I am a retired scientist, capable of talking about science, having some qualifications. Thereby, let me put them things in nutshell. Initially, when God created the heaven and the earth, it's a big complicated term. God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void. The word and keep repeating in book of Genesis chapter 1. One day I read an article by a critic asking why not some Christians edit the Bible and cut down all these hands, because the repetition of one single word so frequently is a damaging factor for any good literature. That was for the first time that struck me too. Yes, it is true. Then why there are so many hands? I got the answer that the creation was taken place in so many installments. I'm not going to narrate each of them. Every single hand used in the book of Genesis denotes a time gap. If so, in the beginning, God created the heaven. And after a time gap, He created the earth. Yes, it is true. According to the science, the universe was created, rather was formed 13.8 billion years back. That is the latest invention as per the James telescope. It is 13.8 billion years. But our earth has got a life of only 4.45 billion years. That means the first and in the Bible, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. The first and in the Bible denotes a time gap of 9.3 billion years. Initially, when God created the heavens, what were all there in the heaven? There were visible things as well invisible things. What were the visible things? All the stars and celestial bodies. If so, what were the invisible? They were the angels. They were ranked according to their capability, strength and size as kingdoms, dominions, and so on. After around 9.2 to 9.3 billion years, there was a rebellion in heaven between God Almighty and Lucifer. Lucifer wanted the system to go in a democratical style. I think I'm trying to use the words which is more applicable today, which we can understand. Lucifer wanted the things to go in a democratical fashion, that more number of people to give opinion and idea. Whereas God Almighty wanted to go the whole system in a theocratical form, where the law is made by God and others are simply to obey. Because of the misunderstanding between Lucifer and Jesus and God Almighty, God decided to relocate him from there, and henceforth earth was created after a gap of approximately 9.3 billion years. I am combining between science and the Bible. There he casted down Lucifer unto the earth, asked him to maintain it as the colony of heaven. But Lucifer rebelled again here. Henceforth, he was thrown out from the earth, and then thereafter, he was called as the prince of the air. Thereafter, God Almighty decided, rather the decision was even earlier, even before the foundations of the world, that is 9.345 billions of years before. Even before the foundations of the earth, God decided that He will have human on the earth. Initially, He has put Lucifer on the earth, knowing it thoroughly well that Lucifer will again foul with God. He will have to be dismissed from his position, and thereafter the position need to be handed over to the human being. Henceforth, the humans were the predetermination of God. It was the idea and ideology of God. I'm not going to explain in a scientific way. Thereby, God Almighty changed Lucifer from his initial estate, being the prince of this earth. He was dismissed from here, and the earth itself was damaged, removed from its original place, according to Psalms number 104. He removed the earth from its initial place, put it somewhere far, far, far away from the original place. There he rectified the heavens of the old and the earth of the old. He remodified it. Rather, he changed the cosmos of the earth in such a way that Lucifer cannot come back and stay over here. Unless and until you have a physical body taken from the current cosmos, you cannot also stay here. He made the human in heavens as a heavenly body, that is the spirit of man was created in heaven, according to Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 through 28. He created man in the image and likeness of God. He created them as male and female, and then he wanted to send them upon the earth. Remember, in the first chapter, verse 26 through 28, it says that we are the creation of God. The word meaning creation is bringing out of nothing. There is emptiness. From the emptiness, from nothing, we are created. But in chapter 2, verse 7, we are formed out of the dust of the earth. Now, which of these two are correct? If number two, the second statement is true, first statement cannot be accepted. And if the first statement is true, second statement do not find any place unless you know the fact. What happened? The initial creation was of the spirit that is done in the heavenly realm. I was created as a heavenly being. But because Lucifer has already finished his term and condemned himself, God wanted to replace Lucifer on the earth, and he wanted to put man on the earth. Now the cosmos is already changed. I cannot come and stay here as a spiritual being. Henceforth, according to chapter 2 of book of Genesis, verse 7, God took little dust out of the current cosmos, out of the earth. He created the external body, and he blew in the spirit, which is called Niswa. In the original script it is written, it is the Niswa that he breathed into us. Thereby, I have an inner man who is godly. I have an outer man who is from the current cosmos. This displeased Lucifer so much. He wanted to cheat the man. Now Lucifer cannot come and work over here because he don't have a physical body. Henceforth, he came and requested a serpent. I think most of us, we have not gone through this area. This is not even much applicable even today. But I wanted to start with why the cross became necessary, and I am starting from there on. Now, he took little dust from the earth, from the current cosmos, formed a man out of it, rather the outer body out of it, and he blew in the Niswa, the body which is created in heaven, into the human being. I am a spiritual being inside. I am a physical being outside. And I think some of our people have explained it very clearly. When the physical body and the spirit joined together, life was automatically generated. Because it is the way of God, when two things properly joined, the third thing almost takes place. Henceforth, the two things, that is the spirit and the body, joined together in its correct proportion in his own way. The life automatically generated. I became a living being. Now the three things has to be properly added, then only you and me become a legal entity on the earth. If the spirit has left, then this body cannot stay here. Though it is taken out of the dust, and the dust doesn't smell. After having made it as a body, this body will start smelling because it do not have a legal entity here. When the body is already gone, the spirit cannot stay. It has to leave because it do not have a legal entity. Now God Almighty made a legal entity, that is the life, the body, the spirit, put them together and said Adam, domain. Now remember one thing. Before creating Adam, He has already told the sun, rule or domain during the daytime. He already commanded the stars and the moons, domain, rather take control of the night. Now there is already a sun, there is already a moon and stars. They are all having dominion upon the earth. In between he created man and he told man, you also domain. A spiritual warfare started from the very moment. There are many promises I have. There are several promises you have. But unless you inherit it, rather you take it by force, by spiritual warfare, you can never inherit them. That will never become yours. Now there is a spiritual warfare. And the devil wanted to have a spiritual warfare with a human being too. Now Lucifer cannot come on the earth and do anything because he don't have a legal body which is taken out of the ground. Henceforth, he approached a serpent, a snake. He approached the serpent or the snake and they came into an agreement or contract that the devil has, the serpent has said to the devil, Lucifer, you use my body. Use my body. I will be subject to you, but reward me accordingly. They have come to an understanding. This super being, that is the spirit of the demon, the demonic spirit, rather spirit of Lucifer and the body of snake, together walked towards Eve. Eve was cheated. She was given instruction to eat out of the forbidden tree and she has obeyed him finally, and henceforth Eve also yielded her body unto the sin. There God Almighty came. He called out Adam and asked him, where are you? He said,